Good evening, everyone. It is June 25th at about 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm just getting a real quick video put together here just to keep everybody up to date where we're at for our August class. Please note you've probably already gotten an email from the college, Pennsylvania College of Health Sciences, that is stated due to COVID-19, all theory classes will be moved to the online environment. So that means Mondays and Wednesday nights we will have class via either Zoom or GoToMeeting from 6 in the evening till 2200 at night. Please make sure that you have a area which you're able to sit down. We can have a video chat as well as lecture that evening. I'm not a big fan of prepared lectures when it comes to the online environment. I will teach it like I normally do in class, so please be prepared this next 4 months. Starting in August, all lectures are going to be online. Where that will be different is that though one day a week we will be in lab, whether you choose the Tuesday afternoon, the Tuesday evening, the Thursday evening, the Friday midday, or the Sunday afternoon. Please note we will have 4.5 hour labs with your appropriate lab instructor, and we'll be doing face-to-face stuff during that time, but it'll be just lab work at that point. So that's going to be a challenge for all of us, as all of us honestly are traditional classroom face-to-face instructors, and as principal providers we're certainly used to that. But please realize, we'll overcome this stuff and we'll be back in the lab no time at all. So we do plan on starting as normal. So with that, please note, please have a working computer with a webcam as well as a good microphone. If you haven't started doing online stuff yet, start working your way through some of those con videos I had recommended. Please watch the Platinum Education videos. Work your way through with Ryan and Melina on getting all your clearances done in a timely fashion, and anything else like that. Please remember, you can reach out to me at any time. You all have had emails from me. Cell phone's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Email as well. You can also text me. With that, I will continue to put these out every now and then. Just to keep you guys up on track on where we're going. And just so you know, as I had said previously, the Blackboard website, the course site that we are using here, is not a Pennsylvania College Blackboard site. This is a free to use site for anyone. So because until you're fully registered and pay your down payment, the PA College will not allow you to access their Blackboard site, and that actually doesn't open up until a week before the new semester begins. So it's limited, but because there is a lot of material that we have to cover in 12 months, and now the way that we're delivering it is going to be different, I thought getting everybody up and out and having some of the class work taken care of during these off times where you're not under the gun to get it done would be more than helpful. So again, up here I've put everything that you would need to get going. There's free reference books, AP, stuff like that to get in more in depth. There's the Platinum Education videos. We will be using a system that's called Platinum Education. That's where you will be taking, logging in all of your clinical and field shifts, as well as later on in the year, that's where you'll be taking modular exams through that. Most of the exams will be offered through the Blackboard site, but as we get more in depth and everything, we'll move to more of a national registry style questioning and answering, and that will be through your through the Platinum series. So I would highly recommend that you guys start becoming familiar with that. Don't pay for anything. Don't try to log in. Your tuition will take care of that. We just have to give you a login code and everything else like that. So that'll come during that second week of class as we do that. I've given you guys a couple assignments already. The majority of those assignments come in the form of discussion forums. The first one that I asked you about was what makes a good EMS provider. 14 of you have answered that. The new one, what is ethics and what is morality? There's only 5. One of those is mine. For them. What makes a good EMS provider? Follow up after I've compiled all the data from the 11 people, and then further follow up for accountability and traits. I also sent you an email giving you an assignment to watch the movie Bringing Out the Dead, or reading the book. As we come up on the end of this week here, I'm going to start sending out discussion boards on this, as well as I've given you an assignment. If we go back to our content and look at the very bottom here, it says St. Thomas Aquinas. I've asked you to go ahead and read this chapter from an old philosophy book that was mine back from the mid to early 90s. And you can see it was old because this textbook only cost $38.50. But this is one chapter. It's about 19 pages. And it's a scanned copy, so you can't edit it or anything else like that. It's an old book. But I just want you to read that. It's going to start getting your brain going into a critical thinking mode, as well as to help you understand some of the concepts that we're going to get into. And again, we're starting with, again, the ethics, morals, what makes a good provider, because that's going to help to form some thoughts as we go along down the road. I firmly believe that, as you learn the skills and the medicine behind what we do, we also have to know the philosophy on why we do certain things and why we don't. My job and my staff's job is to educate you in the ways of becoming a paramedic and becoming a competent entry-level practitioner. All right, so that's what we need you to do. By way of also one of those documents that I have on the course site for you is last year's student handbook. This new student handbook will not change that much. It'll change some dates and stuff like that, but everything that's pretty much in here is going to remain the same. We'll add a couple new. We've got a couple new clinical rotations that you have to do, but very little stuff actually content-wise will change. But we'll get that out to you, because you're going to have to read this at some point, and you're going to have to sign a contract of learning with us to understand that you will abide by that. One of the resources that I've given you for your ethics and morality questions draws from the EMT Code of Ethics of the EMT, and that's where you can find this on page 10 in your book, in your handbook. Other things in there, functional description of your EMT and paramedic process, what you need to be able to do, physical demands, your essential functions, reading all about advanced placement, programmatic. We'll give you a breakdown here on page 23 of your total clinical time and hours that you will be required to complete. Not only do you have hours requirements, but you also have to have patient contact requirements, which we will discuss at length on what you need to do. Please remember, our program right now is about a total of about 1,237 hours. That's 474 hours of lab and theory, 353 in the clinical. Clinical, remember, is bricks and mortar hospital, approximately 410 hours in the field. Now, please remember these hours, especially clinical and field, more likely field is obviously going to be variable in the fact that that's going to be the minimum. Please realize, if you are a type of personality, which again, I can't pick and choose it, where you become an ambulance anchor, or you are a white cloud on the ambulance, and it takes you an extra 100 hours to get your 99 ALS calls that are required throughout the program, you're going to spend some more time on the ambulances. So please realize that. But again, here you can see we break it down by hours. Now, when you do respiratory, as you can see here, respiratory semester 1, semester 2, that's at LGH. We have a contract that's sitting out there for you to go and do 8 hours of shadowing with the Pennsylvania Bureau of EMS, but up in the Department of Health in the Pima building. But unfortunately, that's been on hold for the past couple of years because of contractual issues, and now with COVID, the state doesn't let anybody into their offices, so that's variable. So there's a bunch of things there that you should be reading. Here you can see we have a minimum list. This is what is known as Appendix G of the CAHEP forms, where this tells us that throughout your year here, you will see at a minimum this number of specific patients. 40 trauma, 10 of those have to be pediatric, at least 15 of them have to be geriatric. The remaining 5 need to be of either pediatric or geriatrics. But again, that can certainly go above and beyond. These are your required minimums. If you don't meet these required minimums, you will not be successful. So just become familiar with this as we move along. We'll talk about health science compliance. The COVID-19 one will be added on. These are all online videos that you have to watch in modules. Now, please realize that this is only for LGH. If you decide, like in my one email, when I asked you to look at the clinical and field sites, if you wanted to go to other hospitals that we have contracts with, they may require different OSHA requirements, or they may be the same ones. You just cannot use the LGH ones to fulfill the other services and or clinical units requirements. UPMC has their own, Brandywine, Tower Health has their own, as well as HMC up in Hershey has their own. So please be mindful of that. As we move along through here, please realize that with Blackboard, you are required, or you're going to have a high-speed internet connection to be able to log into all of the equipment that we have when it comes to testing and lecture in Blackboard and everything else like that. So please make sure, if you're going to have any difficulty with that at any time, do me a favor, give me a shout out, give me a text or something like that. Let me know what's going to go on, and I'll see what I can do to help you on my end with that. But it is going to be imperative that you have a working computer with a webcam, as well as microphone. Headset works good. I think I got this one at probably $5 store, Five Below. Honestly, probably only cost me $5. And they work well. I have teenagers too, and the teenagers let me know what's good or not. So we'll talk all about documentation. We'll get all that clinical rotations. Knowing what our grading system is very important. Please realize that to pass each semester, you must have a cumulative grade point average of at least 80%. If you do not have 80, you do not pass into the next semester. So please be mindful of that. Evaluation, we have a attendance policy. You cannot miss any more than 24 hours total throughout the entire 3 semesters. If you have National Guard duty, something like that, please let me know and we will take care of that. But again, the easiest thing for you to do right now is to let me know what's going to become impingements into your education. That way we can try to work around it. Okay. So that's what all this stuff is. So please, discuss it amongst yourselves, looking at, the uniform code and everything else like that. We do have a uniform code for clinical and field sites. The shirt is a gray shirt that looks like this. It says paramedic student on it, and has some embroidery. Normal pants, EMS pants, blue or black are acceptable. Shoes, dark in color, duty boots that have a good polish on it. If you're in the ER and you're working around in the hospital, if you have a good pair of black loafers or black tennis shoes, those are acceptable in the clinical environment, but in the field you have to wear the appropriate boots of protection type. Eyeglasses, if you're wearing eyeglasses, you have to have shields. If you don't wear glasses, you have to wear safety glasses at all times. If you're within an arm's reach of a patient, I don't care if you're assessing them or not, you're going to wear eyeglasses. As well as now with the new COVID-19, we have been in contract with LGH. They will be fit testing you. That way when you begin your clinicals at LGH, when required to wear a fit test, rather when to wear an N95 at LGH, you will have them. As well as if you need any isolation gowns or anything like that, we'll get them for you. Alrighty, other requirements, stethoscope, having your own stethoscope, pen light, small flashlight, banded scissors or trauma shears. Have on you at all times an ink pen with a small notebook, and a watch with a second hand. Good cheap one from Walmart will do you fine. I discourage the use of an Apple Watch or anything else like that because of the constant issue with it dropping off. Get something with a rubber band, a rubber or synthetic band metal works good, because you don't want anything being able to penetrate that, like if you were to get a hemp or a leather band. But something that you can see with that won't run out on you and has a good second hand. You need that second hand, because when you're in there doing clinical time and you need to count respirations, pulses, or anything else like that, you can't assume that there's going to be a clock behind you or anything else like that. So a good second hand. Just so you know, some items that are not allowed to be worn in clinical or field time: jumpsuits, ball caps. Now the ball caps can be worn in field rotations only, but they have to be blank. You can't have your service name on it. You can't have your favorite ball team on it or anything like that. They've got to be blank ball caps, dark blue or black. They cannot be worn in the hospital, just so you're aware. Also, that's going to be dependent. While I can say it may be okay, precepting services have standards and policies which you must follow. Caps of any kind during indoor clinicals, I just said that. No open-toed shoes or sandals anywhere. Now, if you wear slides or something like that when your boots are off and you're at the station, that's okay, but you can't wear them on calls. No open-toed shoes at the college. That includes once we're back in for lecture and or lab. The reason why is we carry heavy equipment around us all the time. You certainly can wear tennis shoes and stuff like that, but it's one of those things. If we're in lab, more than likely we're going to get equipment out, needles are going to be around, so we need to completely cover our feet. Please remember, jeans are permitted in the lab and classroom activities, and no shorts, please. With that, sleeves need to be on, and everything else like that. We'll talk about overall appearance later when we do a full true orientation, but I just wanted to give you some aspects of what we're going to be doing. As I said, reading all this is going to be your first step. Page 51, you're going to see our estimation for our the cost of our program. All right, if you have any questions about that, let me know. Basic skills requirements, and again, here we have our field clinical rotations breakdown and what our programmatic objectives are for everything. We'll talk about our lab requirements. This is just our one lab requirement. Our first 2-3 weeks of lab that we're going to be doing, our accreditors require us to do basic skills verifications. So that's going to mean that you're going to have to show us. We're not teaching you, because as an EMT or an AEMT, you should already have these skills available. But you're going to show that you can immobilize an adult patient supine using a short board, a KED board, an XP1 or something like that, putting a patient onto a long backboard appropriately, or an orthopedic stretcher, a long bone, splinting, all these devices that you have to do. You have to be able to show us and define of this everything that is listed here at these minimum numbers. So that's usually the first two things that we do, 2 to 3 weeks that we do. I'd also sent out an email to you asking which site you wanted to go to. Here's the list of our current field sites. This is ambulances. Wheels on the bus go round and round. So let me know where you want to go. Give me your first your top pick, your secondary pick, and your tertiary pick. That way I can know where you want to go. Please note the name change here: Community Life Team Harrisburg and Community Life Team York. Please remember, those are now owned by UPMC. So it's CLT York or CLT Harrisburg. You could go to either or both of them, but again, regardless, if you go there, that's going to require you to have some other type of online education, just like if you go to Brandywine, which is owned and operated by Tower Health for Medic 93. We could certainly do that. As far as Holy Spirit is concerned, with them just being bought out by Penn State, I'm not really sure how that's going to be affected, but we could certainly find out what you want to do and go from there. The next page that I'm going to be just breezing through, please read all this stuff as far as what our objectives go, will be the clinical sites. Again, this is brick and mortar. As you can see, we have Lancaster, her HMC in the ED only, Ephrata in the ED. Please note that UPMC Pinnacle Lancaster is no longer open. That used to be the old hospital here in Lancaster. We do have an affiliation agreement with them up in, oh, I forget now. I apologize. UPMC up in, up north, up by the airport. But that's pretty much the ED up there. But if you do want to experience some more stuff up there, let me know. We can certainly get with that. And then we have women's and babies for our L&D NICU and couplet care, but that won't be until second, third semester with that, after we get done with PALS and everything. So pretty much everything that we're going to do here is going to be at LGH with that. We do not have any agreements with any Philadelphia hospitals. We can explore WellSpan if we wanted to with that, but that's been a little problematic as of recently with all the acquisitions and changes. But if there's some place that you want to go, it's not on this list, you know, send me an email, send me a text or something. It usually takes anywhere between 4 to 6 months to get the contract paperwork and everything and all the education done to open up a clinical site. So if you let clinical and or field site, so if you let me know now, might be able to be better off down the road. So please take a look at this when you get a chance. I'd really appreciate it. Also, you know, when we look at all this stuff down here, especially on the discussion groups, please realize is, you know, I'm trying to get you guys up and running as quickly as we can. Spending time on this during class when you're struggling to study and then you end up having to go do clinical and field time, then you'll feel stressed. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't done any of this stuff yet, please start looking at it. If you want to become a paramedic, these are the things that we need to do to become paramedics in my program. There are other programs out there, so if you think that this might be a little bit what wasn't what you were looking for in the educational process, please give me a call and we can discuss that. But this is what I feel that allows us to make you and create that entry-level paramedic that you are telling me that you want to be, and you're telling me that by registering for my program. So let me know if you have any issues. Please watch out for my emails. As we move forward, we are planning on testing for the National Registry on this class in August. It's a Sunday, August 23rd. I may be sending out an email here in the next couple days looking for potential partners and or patients, depending on what the National Registry will allow us to do in the era of COVID for live patients. But that would be an awesome opportunity for you to see how the National Registry Advanced Practical does work from the inside. As well as that will count towards your 8 hours of community time should you require that. So that's it for tonight. It's about 22 minutes. You're going to be spending a lot more time with us over the next year. So please begin slowly working your way up to that. Start thinking. I know it hurts. I know it's painful, but that's what learning is. It's changing one's point of view, giving you more education, giving you more skills to be able to better yourself, your financial stability, as well as everything around you. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to give me a call, email, text me at 717-874-0187. If you haven't already done so, I still need a professional selfie from you so I can meet and greet. You guys are seeing my mug here, but I may not get to see yours for some time. So please feel free. If you need any assistance from Ryan or Melina, please reach out to them. To where we can start your semester with as stress-free as we can and get you guys on to reaching your final goal of becoming a medic in probably about 16 months from now. Okay, 12 months after August. All right. Yeah, my math's off. Sorry. So it's 7:30 now on Thursday, June 25th. Be nice, be safe, have a good one.